I was at a Bible college at the time, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I heard you were looking for a job." He said, "Have you ever seen that show, American Ninja Warrior?" Well, I work at the only gym in Houston that trains people for that show specifically. It was like a light bulb moment, and I was like, okay, I need a job, and I could, work with students and then maybe even train and get on the show eventually. I could then even use that for the purpose of ministry. I went, tried the obstacles, I fell in love with it. I mean, just the swinging, the climbing, flying through the air, running up the walls. Like, it was the most exciting and most fun sport that I'd ever tried. So I met with the owner and I said, "Hey, here's my resume. I would love an opportunity to work here." He said, I don't hire people I don't know. We're, a small family-owned business. He said, "I would love to see you get a membership here, and then down the road, when an opportunity opens up, then I'll give you a job, maybe." And so I began walking out of the gym, and during that walk, I began praying, and I was like, "God, I'm angry, but I will trust you." As I walked out of the gym and headed toward my car, someone ran up behind me and grabbed me by the shoulder, and they said, "Hey, you don't know me, but I heard you talking to my boss about wanting a job here." Well, I haven't told my boss this yet, but I'm about to move back to my home state, and if it's cool with him, you can just have my job and begin working immediately. And I was blown away. And so immediately, like that next week, I began coaching at that ninja gym in Houston, and I've been there over 10 years now. And I said, "God, I will never not trust you for financial provision. I will never worry or fear about provision for jobs, because I just saw you do both of those in one fell swoop." As I began working at the Ninja Warrior gym and training and competing at local competitions, the next step was to then get on the TV show and do it. Sent in my video, and I couldn't have been more proud of it, but then callbacks began, and it seemed like every one of my fellow ninjas that I was training with at the gym, everyone got a callback except me. And then they were like, "Well, Daniel, you're just too young." So I went and I got to test run some obstacles that year, meet some of the producers, and I was like, "Man, this is amazing. I'll submit again next year, and I'll get a call back next year." So I waited a year, and then I submitted again. And for the second year in a row, everyone that I knew got a call back, except me. And I'll never forget just the feelings that came with that, feelings of inadequacy. And your mind just goes to, of course, like the worst case scenarios. And I said, "Well, Lord, I have been rejected 2 years in a row. I have no other option to compete this season. But there's one thing I believe I can do, and that's go and join the walk-on line in the hopes of maybe getting selected as a walk-on competitor." So I show up in this line, and they take maybe 10 or 15. There's already almost 30 people in front of me. And as I was in that line, one of the producers recognized me from the year prior when I got to test run. And he said, "Hey, you're that guy with the hair." And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Hey, what are you doing in this line? I thought surely you would have gotten a call back." And I said, well, no, I didn't." And he said, "Well, here's the thing, Daniel. I like you, and I want to see you compete on this course. So here's what I want you to do. Go back in the line, wait it out the next couple of days, and on the night of competition, I guarantee you I'm going to give you a shot." And that was it. So I waited in a line all day in the sun, dehydrated, sunburned. It was terrible for a week. On the night of competition, they began dividing us up. They said, you few over here, everybody else head over this way, and Daniel, come here. And next thing I know, I'm standing on the starting block, looking around. I've got the lights, I've got the cameras, I've got the screaming audience around me. My heart starts pounding out of my chest. And I was like, "God, I believe I'm physically capable of finishing this course, but if I fall or fail, give me the grace to show people what it looks like to lose and to get back up." And then I hear the countdown, 3, 2, 1, go, and I'm running, and it's a blur. Just obstacle after obstacle. Next thing I know, I'm pulling myself up, and I hit the buzzer, and they said, "Wow, rookie, you just got the fastest time of the night." I went on to become the Rookie of the Year that season, and that is what launched me into American Ninja Warrior. That's how it all began. Once I began competing, I began this trajectory that was just going skyward. I mean, every year after that, I was getting better, I was going further, but every single year, I would make it to a certain point, but then I would fall or fail. And I was like, God, this is frustrating. Season 11 of American Ninja Warrior, I had my best year yet. I never fell in the water. I hit every single buzzer that was in front of me. And I remember going to the final stage. $1 million was on the line. And it was under really poor circumstances for me because as a reality television show, the production team is on a timeline. I finished stage 3, landed, had the bar in my hand. Production came over and they said, hey, great job, Daniel. We got to go straight to the last round immediately. And I was like, well, I can hardly open and close my hands. And I began praying and I said, God, this isn't how I envisioned it. This wasn't the plan. I'm exhausted. I just ran another course and now I have to climb this rope for $1 million and I don't feel like I can. I said, but Lord, you brought me this far. I don't believe that you're gonna leave me hanging. Whatever the outcome is, I'm gonna trust you. So I grab onto that rope and they give me the countdown and they say go. And it's about 80 feet of rope that you have to climb in 30 seconds or less. So I began climbing, and it was the longest 30 seconds of my entire life, but I was doing it. I was going faster than the time.
He's 35 feet away. Oh, but he's slowing down, man. I don't know if he can do it.
And then about 10 feet from the top, I hit a wall, and I couldn't squeeze, I couldn't pull, and I couldn't push with my legs anymore. And I lost. I lost $1 million by 3 seconds. And I was devastated and I thought, well, God, how does this give you glory? And I was confused and I was frustrated, but I still lifted my hands and gave him glory because I said, God, if nothing else, I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I still believe that you can work this together for good. And as I prayed about it, the Lord began to reveal to me, he said, you know, Daniel, how much more does it minister to people to see a Christian lose $1 million and then still give me glory? I said, but also, God, I know who you are in a sense of you love a redemptive story. So I said, God, the silver lining that I'm gonna be telling people everywhere that I go is that, yeah, I lost. Yeah, that sucked. But if I got there once, I fully believe that I can make it there again. Of opportunities to quit. I look back at failure and I say, how can you teach me? What can I learn from you? And oftentimes I think you're just one more attempt away from the success that you've dreamt about or prayed about. So I trained the whole next year and we entered into the next season.
Ray wants a bang. Who can be smoother on the shelf? Gill first. Oh, on, get even. Oh, my. Gill. Who wants it? Who wants it? Gill.
I came back the year after losing $1 million by 3 seconds and I was able to win American Ninja Warrior Season 12 and I became the grand champion. And I said, God, this is what it was. I've watched you provide for me yet again. We all face obstacles. and once we recognize that, we can then look at whatever obstacle we're facing in life and say, okay, how can I train for this? Just don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Make it through those dark times. Make it through those cold times because there's another season just around the corner. Competing on the show for all these seasons has been such an exciting journey for me through the highs and the lows to get to use this television platform to point people to Jesus. For as many years as I end up competing on American Ninja Warrior and have the influence that I have, I'm gonna use it for good. I'm going to use it to inspire people and I'm gonna use it to honor God.